Well, it's Frothy Friday again. I was looking at the kind of screeny angle kind of thing as I set this up, and I was actually like, when you're listening to someone talk, or if you're probably from when you're a kid as well, you sit on the ground and the teacher or someone cool comes in to tell you some stuff about whatever, and you just they lean in. It's like, oh, and everyone goes, oh. I hope if you watch this at some point you go, oh, because I'm leaning in. A bit of a random start. I've had a lot of frothy yarns where I've been leaning in this week, and I've held some yarns. I've held some space. I've hosted a podcast, which was radical, and I hosted a workshop called Awaken the Weird Within. This is all about how can we tap back into the things that we did as a child, which was creative, which was unbridled froth and flow. And what could we use these superpowers of us as children for in our day-to-day lives today? I ran this workshop a couple of weeks ago, and there was a stack of people in it. It was really cool. And I read out a poem that I wrote. Part of the workshop is to get people to drop into their old selves through a little bit of meditation. And then we get them to start off with when I was weird, ... and they'll write it out, or they'll draw a picture or whatever they want to do. It's artistic expression. And I was the guinea pig first, obviously. If I ever run a workshop, I'll do everything first because otherwise you're a fucking bullshitter, in my opinion. And I wrote, excuse me, been surfing this morning, a little bit cold. And so I wrote this poem when I was weird, and I'll post it up somewhere. And so anyway, I got a message after the workshop that one of the ladies who attended, Colleen, she's Canadian, but she lives in the Netherlands. She sent me the message and goes, "Oh, I loved your poem. It was rad. I just had to cut a bit out of it." And I was like, oh, okay, cool. And so the bit she cut out was, to give you a little bit about the poem, it's kind of like when I was weird, I had an imaginary friend named Duddy who was blue. Stuff like that, When I was weird, I would wait up for my dad to come home and have this little mantra prayer. And I'd sit at the window because I could see the train come in from my window, and it would be like I would be accepting that bad stuff could happen out in the universe, and there's nothing I could do about it except wish that it didn't. And so mine was always like, I hope my dad comes home. So stuff like that, that you might have forgotten about when you're a kid, but when you drop into that space and you give yourself permission to explore those years, some interesting things come up, like maybe I was a wizard because dad always came home, right? And so the part that she cut out though, this is classic. So she went through, she cut out my poem, and then she edited out this bit so she could show it to her 11-year-old son, I believe. And it was the bit where I said, I used to have a tape deck when I was, one of those big sort of little boomboxy sort of looking thing. And every time I'd have a fart, I'd run over and go, record, and then stop record. So I just had this tape full of farts. And so she decided that she needed to cut that bit out because she's a little bit worried that her son is still infatuated maybe, with farts. Flatulence, for those playing at home who don't know what flatulence is, kind of the English word for farts. So I had a little giggle about that because unfortunately for her son is never not going to think farts are funny because they're funny forever. And so that's probably, a way to tether back to your weird is like, what are the stuff that you found funny when you're a kid that you still giggle at now? And it's just, maybe that's the portal. Maybe farts are the portal. There you go. Job done. That's the workshop. But yeah, on to other yarns this week. I put a video up on Monday about Netflix, and I wrote a workshop for a corporate called Netflix Tricks, How to Live Your Best Couch Life. Something like this, get a sick couch and use Vice optimization. That was pretty much the whole workshop. That's it. That's all I said. One slide. And so anyway, people are interested in this stuff, and it's literally the same concept of, 101 tokens, if you're familiar with that. It's kind of like do the thing and reflect on the thing. And so yeah, we did. So I sort of put this video out, and my mate and I had a sick yarn last night just about what he wants to do in his life. And really it's, and he's been pretty successful lately in the work he's been doing. but there's something more. And so I feel like there's a resonance around there's something more. And I think, in my opinion, like the simplest thing you can do for other people, which might turn into something that is profitable in the sense of money, or profitable in the sense of you're just a good motherfucker who does good shit for the people they care about around them, is that you be the guinea pig, go and have a frothy time, make all the fuck ups, and then invite other people in to make all the fuck ups as well, but just with a little bit of, a half step ahead. Feels like a good way to do things. And so it got me kind of thinking about dry July is coming up again. And for the last 3 years, I've reached out to Dry July, and they're lovely. Like, I always end up getting an account manager from there or something, and they're always like, oh, what you do is really cool. However, it's not really our jam. And I kind of realized that Dry July, while you might think that it's about people getting off the piss for a month, for the company or the entity, it's about raising as much money as they can for a good cause, right? So fucking noble, go for it, awesome. But that's why they don't really give a shit about you after July, as far as I can tell. I've not done Dry July, so maybe they do give a shit now, but from what I saw before, it was just like spring break straight after. And so I was thinking, like, rather than reaching out to Dry July and then trying to do something, why don't I just spark a little bit of a frothy yarn or a dialogue with the people in my community? And when I say my community, our community is the sort of token crew. And I'm pretty frothy on it, because some of these people have been interacting with me for the last 4 years. I don't get an email back from them every time I send one, but it's about a 500 to 600 person reading list out of a 1,200 or whatever it is now, because I always just cull people who are not engaging. And that's kind of nice that and the spectrum of stuff that comes back to me from people who have just like fully kicked the drink and aren't doing it anymore, to people who are like, oh, Benny, I need to get back on because I've just wobbled a bit. It's pretty interesting. I probably should have some better data on it. Not that we need to data everything, but it would be helpful for me to kind of give my best. Lav, who I was chatting to last night, love Lav, and he tried 101 tokens, didn't work for him, but he was still on the journey to I want to change that habit, and so he kicked cigarettes through this book, and then off the back of that, or during that process, realized that the same things were showing up with the cigarettes as they were for the drinking, so now he's kicked the drinking. This is what it's all about. It's not about trialing a system from someone, whether it's Tony Robbins or fucking whoever, or your mate from up the road who's, oh, you got to try this bloody keto. No. It's about the fact that you're giving it a crack, and then if it doesn't work, not going, oh, well, fuck that, I'm just going to keep going with whatever that vice which is damaging you is. It's about going, okay, well, I've tried one thing. There's no silver bullets in this world. So is that a segue? Not really. That's Frothy Friday. You're just going to get whatever comes out of my mouth. But I kind of designed this a little bit better. So back to the dialogue. Sharing with my community of 500 to 600 folks who read my emails every week. I'm thinking that we'll probably get, maybe 10 to 20 who are interested in some of these things. And so rather than me just going, oh, how would you like to do Netflix this month? And let me put a pin in this Netflix thing. I haven't seen anyone doing Netflix optimization. I feel like it's one of those ones where everyone's like, well, here's the fucking reason why. And this is my bone to pick. At some point in the last sort of 5 years, maybe 10, maybe probably about 5, it's become okay to use the word binge within the sense of Netflix and TV series. And even to the point of like some of my friends who have got good followings in the mindfulness space will be like, oh, that's so binge worthy. Or even some of my mentors will be like, oh, I'm just going to binge fucking Netflix this weekend. I'm like, no, that is not the word I was thinking. I'm going to go with fucking stupid, because words are spelling, and when you start using binge, which means to just gorge, which is fucked for everything, and it's like, oh, okay, it's not okay to binge drinking, it's not okay to binge drugs, it's not okay to binge, I'm trying to think of another one, Even exercise in the gym, you know, binge gymming, is that good for you? No, it's fucking terrible. You need recovery. You know, so why is it okay now? And there's a fucking television station called Binge. Those people need to get in the sea, whoever created that. Anyway, that was my bone to pick. And so where I was going with that is I got a little bit intense there, didn't I? Maybe like dial it back because we want a bit of froth. We want more froth. Like, let's froth. You know how you can do that? Called the Tranquilo breath. You can do it wherever you want. It might be called something else in a tradition, and it's been that way for 5,000 years, but I haven't seen that yet. So it's just a breath in through the nose, and then purse lips as slow as you can. And just feel yourself come down, and you can speak like a really long sentence and like be getting really whipped up about something like Netflix and binging, and you'll still have breath. You can literally do it anytime. There you go. That's for free. And tranquilo is Spanish for just chill out, if you want to know. So anyway, what the question I'm going to ask to my community, and if anyone else is watching this and wants to jump in on it, is would you like to map your Netflix habits for a whole month with me and have frothy yarns? And I'll caveat all this stuff, but I'll say the 3 things that I'm thinking. And so it'll be called like something like design a Netflix, kick the binge, get back to something else. Can't remember. But anyway, the essence of it will be to map our Netflix habits or TV habits, whatever, or movies, whatever you're watching on there. And then come out the other side with I'd say at least a 10% increase in the way you sleep, 10% in energy, just all the good stuff. Because I know straight off the bat that in the first session, we'll be able to just knock so much stuff on the head that people aren't aware of when it comes to binging Netflix. The next one will be more around breathing, techniques like the Tranquilo breath, and it's called Breathe Like a Lung Wizard. That's pretty fun. That's probably going to win already. No point in doing the poll, right? The 80-20 of breathing life back into your body. Because we're probably like, if we're not breathing consciously, that was part of my other video, it was about like, people who smoke breathing more consciously than people who don't, because if you don't do conscious breathing throughout the day, you're just breathing shallow the whole time, and smokers, I don't need to do that. Go back and watch the old video. The third one is more just kind of around, I guess, a lot of the stuff I've been doing, like that workshop, How to Be Weird. Don't worry, be frothy, it's going to be called. And it's how to design a playground with your favorite humans in it. So, you've probably heard of Finding the Frothers. Upgrade on that. How to spend more time in nature, if you can get out, and if you can't, what can you do? And the idea is that these 3 titles of like, if people are frothy on it, whichever one wins, then I'll create or co-create. If it's the breathing one, I work on my breathwork stuff with the ridiculously awesome Rob Gronbeck. Check him out, The Brain Room. And I'll probably collaborate on all of them, actually. I'll bring some other wizards in, and wizards and witches, good witches, maybe bad ones too, fuck it. And so I'm going to put a little poll up and put that somewhere. That's pretty cool. It feels a bit frothy. And then with the interest, we'll sort of co-design it. Like, what do you actually want to do in this thing? What do people want to get out of this? Do you even give a fuck? Are you just like, leave my Netflix alone, Benny? It's just the one thing I've got that no one hassles me about, and I just want to watch Netflix all the time. You probably don't cry about it, but maybe you do, hey. And that was pretty much all I was going to say about that. That's pretty much my Frothy Friday. And yeah, I hope you have a frothy weekend. I hope whatever you're doing, it is awesome. And I'm actually just about to head off to my mate's doof. It's called Mulletfest. I got a mullet on, and I'll be presenting a workshop on fuck knows. It just says Ben Wallington's Froth Academy. So I guess I'll figure it out when I get there, and I'll just sort of drop into the vibe, and from my bag of tricks, I'll figure something out, and I'll share it with the crowd, and maybe they'll go wild, or maybe they'll be like, I'm just going to go back to the doof.